This cannot be real.
You should have stayed on the main road.
I'm gonna take his head off now, Mom.
This can't be real.
Welcome to Scream-A-Geddon, Tampa's newest horror park.
This cannot be real.
6 terrifyingly authentic haunts, unlike anything you've ever experienced.
Grab him.
This can't be real.
Scream-A-Geddon. Fear to the extreme. For all the gory details, visit Scream-A-Geddon.com.
This can't be real.
Keep telling yourself that.
All right, and we are live. It is 8 p.m. on Tuesdays, and welcome to the show. My name is Johnny Bronto, and as usual, I'm joined by my beautiful, ridiculously redheaded co-host, Courtney Peters. How are you doing, Courtney? You got to unmute yourself.
I'm sorry, I always forget. Hi.
Hey. All right, so we are here. I'm happy to be here. We're about smack dab in the middle of haunt season right now, kind of in that kind of like a little bit of a lull period in the middle.
It's not really the lull. This is the rough period. I'm pretty burnt out this week.
Yeah, we're we've been at this for a while now, since mid-September. I mean, we've done. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. I've done 16 nights of haunts since the middle of September. So
it's crazy. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
My feet hurt. I have a cough from the fog machines. I'm exhausted. But then I think about the fact we only have a couple weekends left, and it makes me sad. So gotta keep going.
Yeah. So honestly, it is something that it is sad, like I have November 1st like circled on my calendar with like a small like unhappy face on my calendar, because I don't want to get there, and there at this point in the event, or at this point in the haunt season, I'm usually kind of skipping stuff, so take a night off here and there, but not this year, man. I'm getting every dollar worth out of this haunt season.
Yeah.
So when it hits November 2nd, I want an assistant. I need an assistant to hand me drinks. So this week we're here to talk about Scream-A-Geddon. And we were able to do this last Saturday, and we drove out to beautiful Dade City to see. We had never been there before, so I didn't even know what to expect.
I haven't explored much of Florida at all, so this was an experience.
Now, Dade City, and I'll kind of bring the map up here a little bit. The map, it's about maybe 45 minutes to an hour north of Tampa. It's about a half an hour kind of northwest of Lakeland here. So we did make the trek out from Orlando to Scream-A-Geddon. And Scream-A-Geddon is their first year, and they have 6 attractions. 6 attractions, 4 of which are actual houses, 1 of which is a haunted hayride kind of thing, and then they have their midway, which is some midway games. They've got some food there, like your carnival food, corn dogs, deep fried Oreos, all
like
kinds
a
of
carnival
stuff.
Midway, exactly.
Yeah. And we were there. Now we went. It's probably my fault as usual. I'm always the one making the mistakes, but
always I should be in charge of planning everything from now on.
When you get a driver's license, we'll talk. So,
don't blame me. No one needs to know that.
So we drove out there. We got there a little bit early. We kind of mistimed it. We had originally planned to eat
almost an hour early.
And we got there a good hour early. So we showed up. We parked in the wrong spot. They made us move. It was kind of a bummer. And I will admit, seeing Scream-A-Geddon from the daylight, we're a little like what do we just get ourselves into? And
it's different.
It's definitely different. It's kind of like a big fenced-in kind of area, and it's big. It's huge. It's really, really cool. It's very like a compact, like intimate kind of a haunt setting. And we got there. Actually, you know what? We got to back up a moment. We got to back up because we got to get to the slideshow here.
Okay.
So a couple background things here is we started off in beautiful Dade City. So we got a picture of Dade City. I literally made a lap around this to have Courtney take a picture because I don't know when I'll be back.
He's such a tourist. Before we went, he was online, on TripAdvisor, looking at all like the local dives and everything, and he wanted to go do everything Dade City had to offer, and I was like, we don't have that much time. So I at least got a picture of the sign for him.
we did. We got a picture of the sign. I'm sure it's a nice place. There's lots of stuff to do. It seems like I've never been there. Now, one of the important things before we even get to Scream-A-Geddon, one of the important things we had to accomplish was we had to get some kumquat pie. That had to happen.
All right. I did not get kumquat pie.
Okay, well, look, I don't know anything about Dade City. When I first look up Dade City on like Wikipedia or whatever, it says we have a big, huge kumquat festival. And my first question was, what is a kumquat? Have I ever had a kumquat? Where do I get a kumquat? How do I taste these wonderful things? I don't know. Apparently it's like a little orange thing, okay?
It's a citrus fruit.
Okay. All right. So before we get to Scream-A-Geddon, we're about maybe, I don't know, like 10 minutes down the road or whatever from Scream-A-Geddon. And Courtney sees this sign and it says Kumquat Products. And I'm like, I made like a 3-point like U-turn, like
he really did.
And he came back around, and it was great. It was awesome. And I walk into this place. I don't remember what it was. It was some kind of gas station or something. It wasn't a gas station, it was a convenience store. And I walk in, and I am like such the tourist. I look at the person at the front desk. I'm like, hello. I'm like, my name is John, and I desire Kumquat Products.
He literally says this.
And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, kumquats. Like, show me what you got. So she says, she's like, well, you've got jellies. And I'm thinking, well, it's kind of impractical to have a jelly at this point. And she's like, we have pie. And I was like, perfect. So in the freezer,
I think they were preserves, not jellies. You used the word jelly. Or no, marmalade. They had marmalade.
She used the term jelly. All right.
Okay.
So, needless to say, here's my delicious slice of kumquat pie before I quickly devoured it. It's kind of like key lime pie, but like citrusy, orangey, or whatever.
He ate it while it was still frozen.
She said I could eat it like ice cream.
She said you could.
And I did. Oh, I did. And it was delicious. And it was $2.99 of heaven. So you can go to kumquatpie.com. Seriously, it's on the label. Kumquatpie.com. And you can get your own slice of Rosemary's kumquat pie. I should have put that in the credits. I'm sorry, Rosemary's kumquat pie. Maybe next year. So let's get to the actual event. Now we don't have a ton of pictures here because we weren't allowed to bring photos into the houses. We're not quite there yet, apparently. Like Bay News 9 can take pictures in the houses.
You're never supposed to do. Oh my goodness.
Well, whatever. All right. So we go. Yeah, right. Like we're direct competitors to Bay News 9. So we go here and we're introduced by this gentleman in the shorts and the orange polo and the bow tie. And the Chuck Taylors with the orange laces. I do not remember this person's name. I don't.
I am currently looking for him on Twitter.
Okay. So he's kind of like a magician type, feats of great amazement type person. Like here, if you look, he has 2 tennis rackets and they are like wrapped around his body.
Yeah. Noah Royak. If you go to Twitter, they handle it at Nerdy Noah Show. He was actually very entertaining, pretty talented.
He was.
Very funny.
He was like the pre-show. He had like this deadpan sense of humor. Like, I'm about to kill myself for you guys. Why can't you clap? And I loved it. It totally worked for me. Great. I love that deadpan kind of thing. We got another picture here. We didn't get a great picture of this because we were behind some people. But here's his sexy pose. Like he's laying down with torches after.
And he had theme music for the whole thing.
He did.
And Careless Whisper was playing, and it was good. He had the whole ambiance.
It was great. At one point, he broke out like this like I don't know like half-foot PVC pipe, and he balanced on 2 boards on like these like these.
It was crazy.
I don't know what they call them. Those solo cups. They were obviously not real solo cups. They were some sort of heavy duty solo cups. I don't know. And he was also juggling 3 live tasers at the same time. Like
Live tasers.
yeah, it was pretty crazy. So very impressive, Noah.
Props to you, Noah.
We love you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
and then we finally, as it started to get dark, they let us into the park. Now, when we originally went, we only bought the normal passes. So we started off the night with just normal general admission passes, and we started into the event.
Yeah, and they usually, I think they cost anywhere from like what, $25 to $50.
I was looking on the site at this point, and when I was looking at the site, they were anywhere from $20 because they're open on Wednesdays now, up to about $30 for the normal pass, and that they actually decreased the price after the first weekend or so. So it was a really good value. We'll go through the
yeah, and
and
I know on their Facebook they do a lot of deals. They give away a lot of tickets, or they'll do discounts. So if you're planning on going, keep an eye out on their Facebook. Lots of good deals. Yeah, totally worth it.
It was definitely worth the trip. It took us about, I don't know, a better part of an hour and a half to get there, hour and 20 minutes or whatever. So we went.
But it was a nice scenic drive. We drove through the downtown of Dade City. It was nice. I enjoyed it.
It was nice. They have a Scarecrow Festival apparently that we
yeah.
You can actually see that.
We were a couple hours late for the Scarecrow
in the
Festival.
Scarecrow Festival little sign here. All right, so we missed that. It's a bummer. All right, so we move into the park. Here's kind of like the outskirts here. You notice right away it has like this big kind of like Midway carnival theme. I mean, everything is like string lights everywhere. It's great. Here's like a ticket booth to the right. So you're already feeling like this carnival feel. And I'll be honest, during the daylight, it doesn't look like much from the outside. It really doesn't. Which is pleasantly surprising because when you actually walk in, it's pretty neat. It's actually got a really cool theme on the inside. So with Scream-A-Geddon, do not judge a book by its cover. But to be honestly, to avoid that, just show up when it's dusk. Yeah, we were there in like midday. So
not my fault.
Yeah, it's my
but
fault.
yeah, I loved the carnival feel of it. Like I said last week, I am not a nature girl, and so when we got there, I was really iffy because we had to walk through grass, and I was wearing flip flops and a dress, and I was like, "There's dirt," and I was a little petrified.
Now, that stuff doesn't really bother me, to be honest. I'm a nature boy. That's
for all you nature boys out there, don't take your non-nature ladies to Scream-A-Geddon.
Whenever I go to a new haunt that I haven't experienced before, I always wear like jeans and like tennis shoes because who knows what you're gonna. Okay. All right. So we get into Scream-A-Geddon. We walk in, and the first horrible attraction, the biggest horror of the whole event for Courtney, is the porta potties.
My mom was hoping you'd mention this because she's the only person that realizes what a phobia I have of any type of public bathroom. And so on the way there, I was really tired from Horror Nights the night before, and I got this huge Starbucks. And then we get there, and I realized it was either nature or porta potty.
Yeah.
So luckily, I had an entire container of hand sanitizer that I was able to use. But
so she already gets one attraction in like right away.
It was rough.
It was like
really rough.
It was this one was no extra charge for her, by the way. It's just no express pass needed. She just goes right in, gets scared, runs out. It's great. Okay.
Runs out as fast as possible.
But as you can see here, as it starts to get darker, all these poles and these lights, I mean, I can't even imagine like their electricity bill because there are like lights everywhere. And it's really cool. I gotta admit, like having an outdoorsy thing after, spending so much time at like the theme parks and like some of the other haunts and everything, like this is all basically for the most part, with the exception of a couple haunts, it's outside. So really props to you. I really like that. Really theme. I have another couple pictures in here. We went in. Here's kind of another shot. They had all these like fire pits where you can buy like s'mores kits and all these like picnic tables and everything. And it's this big, huge, I don't know, like football sized area of just hang out, have a couple drinks, make some s'mores, really cool. And I gotta admit, like this was really appealing to me to be well lit outside.
Yeah, it
And,
looked really nice. And they had some carnival games, they had a merchandise booth, they had a fortune telling lady, and a beer stand, and then your typical carnival snacks like funnel cakes and everything. So it was really fun just to be there. I think that's why they say that the Midway is their sixth attraction, just because it's like a nice place to sit and hang out for a while. You don't have to just do haunt, haunt, haunt and then leave, you know?
Right.
So
Now, you'll see some of these guys walking around here in this picture. You see they have green glow necklaces on. We have green glow necklaces on. We'll be talking about that later. So that's like a badge of honor at Scream-A-Geddon. So we'll get into that in a little bit. Okay, so here's another shot of the outside. This is kind of when it's getting a little bit darker here. So it was really, really just kind of cool to walk around and you know, look at things and stuff. So it's not big, but it's definitely intimate, I guess. It's really, really cool. Then we decided to do our first house. The first house was the 3D house, which is called Bedlam 3D. And this is the first one. Now, at this point, we do not have, we just have general admission, and we get in line. And it's taken a moment. Like we're it's the beginning of the event.
well, and they're pulsing it though.
Right. They're pulsing it when the pulse. What pulsing means is they go in very small groups, like the people you're with, or like 6 people at a time, or whatever. And we asked the lady.
I think they were doing like 4 to 6 people at a time. And yeah, we asked, and they said they time it. Like each of the ops members had the actual timers, and I think it was 1 minute exactly
1 minute
between each group.
Between groups, which is really cool. You know, I mean,
yeah.
You go to the bigger haunts. I mean, it's just a nonstop kind of conga line, like we said, like nonstop kind of row of people. So everything we did was pretty much pulsed, and it was really, really cool. So thumbs up
I
to you
don't
on
think
that.
we ever ran into a problem where we caught up with another group. At times, we even separated from the group of 6 that we were let in with.
Yeah,
so.
they give you plenty of space. Now, Bedlam 3D, they give you like 3D glasses. Now, at the theme parks like Howl-O-Scream and Horror Nights, they give you like little cardboard. I probably have a million sitting around, but
ones. You have to fold them yourself.
Yeah, they're kind of. I mean, I don't want to say. I mean, obviously they get thousands of people that go through that, so they probably have to go for cost or whatever. They give you like real 3D glasses here, like Captain EO, like Muppets 3D,
Transformers.
Yeah, they give you like hardcore 3D glasses, and honestly, when you walk in, it shows. I mean, I've been through many 3D houses before at some of the theme parks, and
maybe my favorite.
Yeah, I really like the 3D room. Now, obviously, we weren't able to take pictures in the house, but like the first room you walk in is all these like multicolored skulls in the room, and they're just like flying all over the place. It was crazy.
Yeah, and this was exciting for me. We were being pulsed, and I was brave enough to go in the front of the line, which I don't usually do with a house for the first time, but I was really glad I did in this one because, first of all, it was just gorgeous to see without anyone in front of me, and second of all, because the 3D was so good that I actually got lost multiple times. And this house was so gorgeous. There weren't a lot of actors in it, but they didn't need it because the effects were so great. And there were some really surprising things. Like at times you would look at the floor and it would look like it was floating, and the floor would actually move at times, and you would look just in different directions. There would be all kinds of different things. And I really, really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, it was really neat. I mean, there have been many 3D houses. Horror Nights and Howl-O-Scream have one. I gotta admit, this was probably one of the best 3D houses I've ever been in ever. Like it was really. I don't know if it was just the glasses or the design or whatever, but I was like, wow. I'm like, we gotta do this one again.
It was beautiful, and we did do it again.
We did do it again. Now after this, I will admit, we have Express this year for pretty much everything, and at this point, I had enough. So we go and we get the VIP pass for Scream-A-Geddon. And it's not super expensive. I mean, it was only like $15 a person. It wasn't that bad. They basically charge you the difference between the VIP Express and your normal ticket. So worked out pretty well. I mean, not that I didn't want to wait in line. It's just we kind of wanted to, not ruin the immersion by having to wait in line for an hour, blah, 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 whatever. So we got the VIP Express pass.
And
very
also, I was
recommended
about mosquito bites, so I think he partially did it for me.
So highly recommended. Spend the extra bit of money, get the VIP pass. Now it does include 5 hole punches, so they actually go through and they punch it every time you go into the event.
Yeah, so it's like Express at Horror Nights. You can only use it once per house per night, basically.
But once you go, it's unlimited admission if you're willing to wait in the lines. Okay. The lines, they did get a little crazy. I mean, I think they dropped the prices a little bit, and that drew more people to the event, or maybe it was just the second weekend or whatever, or third weekend. But the crowds were getting there. Like I was glad we bought the Express because it was
I was very
crazy.
Glad. Yeah.
So we did Bedlam. Now I did take a couple pictures outside. So while we're in here in the actual queue, these particular houses, Bedlam and another one called Pandemic, which we'll talk about in a bit. These actually are in like a big garage warehouse type thing. And let me go forward here. And this is basically what it looks like on the outside. So it's all black lit and everything. Really, really cool looking. Really self-contained here in the event. You can see this line right here to the right is the normal line. And you got to figure like 6 people per minute. I mean, it's cool. It's cool they do that because it's really cool to pulse the lines. But that can get backed up a little bit. So the line, the empty line that you see here to the right is the Express that we had went through afterwards. So we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah. I did love this house, though. I just remembered one of my favorite parts was at the end, I actually got lost in the final room, and I kind of just asked the actors that were in there. I was like, wait, what direction do I go? Because usually they'll point you, they'll try to keep you moving in the right direction. And they told me to go right, and I went right, and there was a sign that said exit this way, and I followed it into a complete dead-end corner, and they just stood there blocking me, laughing at me. So... Yeah, that was another thing that I thought was really neat about that.
So it was pretty interesting. Now, after we got through this house, we went and we got Express. And here's one of the other pieces of the blacklight art. It's the pictures actually don't do it justice. It's actually pretty cool if you're into like blacklight stuff. So it was pretty neat.
Super cool. Yeah, they even had lasers and
lasers.
Yeah, or like laser beam light shows. You know what I mean.
Then we went to another haunt. This is our first one with Express. It was called Dead Woods. And I will admit, when I almost won tickets for this event, I called it Dead House, and I'm stupid. So never mind.
Oh wow.
Dead Woods. Now, Dead Woods is pretty interesting. I mean, hold on, wait a second. This is an actual. If you're watching it right now, here's an actual in-house image of Dead Woods. So hold on one second. If you're watching, that's it. Pitch black. It's dark. It's pitch black. Okay. So when you walk through, they actually give you a glow stick. One glow stick per
That is your only
room.
source of light, and you are literally in these black dark woods.
Yeah, you are in the woods.
And I think the story to this was something to do with the Tate family, maybe, that they just had lived in these woods for years and years, and of course they're cannibals. So it's interesting. You don't have actors really coming at you just while you're walking through the woods. There are more sort of sets that are intermittently along the path, and the actors will be in there, and each of them would have a noise or a signal somehow to let the next set know that the next group was coming. So it was set up not how I expected it to be. I thought we'd have more people charging at us, but it was all in these little scenes. There was lots of acting, so it was really cool. But yeah, it was dark. It was freaky.
It was on a dirt path in the woods.
A dirt path, and there were parts where it was so dark you couldn't tell where you were going at all, and it's uneven ground. This is not like real paths. This is just the woods. So there were many times I thought I was gonna fall and be in serious danger.
Yeah, I'm like, please God, don't let me turn my ankle or die. So
yeah.
It was dark, and I will admit, out of the entire haunt season this season, they got me the best in this house. And now we're kind of we've been doing haunts for a while, and we're kind of trained, I think, to look for where people can come out. It's just kind of like like an expectation kind of thing. And these little shacks you walk through, I mean, there's probably like 4 or 5 of them, and they all had the little scene in it. And I think it was after the first shack or the second shack, I walked out and I'm like, we're done, breathe a sigh of relief. And this lady, man, this girl screamed so loud that I jumped like 5 feet in the air.
You really did. Like, she saw it.
And she saw me, and then she made fun of me as we walked from this shack to the next shack.
She did. She was like, "Oh, I got him good, didn't I?"
She got me the best. I mean, I really haven't been scared that bad since like Thaddeus at the Shallow Grave last year when I like broke my neck. So it was whoever that person is, you give her a raise because she scared the absolute S out of me like crazy. So we go through and we walk through. There's like, it's like scene after scene after scene. It's a typical, I don't say typical. It's kind of like backwoods, cannibals. You end up in a couple. Some people are tied up. They're like, help me, help me.
Yeah, that was interesting. They had a lot of just prisoners too. People in there that weren't even trying to attack you. They were just kind of there to distract you and beg for help.
Yes. So it was, it's almost like I felt bad, but not really. It's like better you than me, So
they also had a few people in ghillie suits out in the woods too, and those always get me because they have little noisemakers and come out of nowhere.
The old ghillie suit thing. Ghillie suits, the military suits where you look like a bush. Yeah, that's the
camouflage into any of the nature.
Yeah, and when it's dark, everything is camouflage, and it is literally pitch black. So they have like these little kind of like LED candles, like every once in a while to kind of keep you in the right path or whatever. But there were
there's just enough light to let you know where to stay, but not at all to see where you're going.
yeah, it was. I thought that I was like off the path a few times, but we made it through. So I gotta admit, it was a unique experience. It was fun. It was cool. Yeah, and I don't mind walking around the woods, but obviously Courtney does. So
it was not good for me. If you know me, I only wear skirts and dresses and flip flops. So this was not ideal for my fashion sense, but I made it through. I did good.
So good. So we're 2 for 2, having a good time. Okay. Next house that we did. I don't think if I have a. Hold on. There we go. We did a house called Infected next, I believe. And these might be slightly out of order, but I believe we did Infected next. Yep. Infected, this is like the largest. I think it seemed like it was the largest one. It just seemed to go on forever and ever and ever. And Infected is, and they actually have commercials for these. So if you guys go to scream-a-geddon.com, each one of these houses has like a little 30-second commercial. There was part of me that was planning to stream them all together into the intro video of this episode. But I saw a video on YouTube for the radio spot, and I had to put it in there because it's like a monster truck event. It's like, Scream-A-Geddon! So I had to put it in there. I just couldn't do that. But Infected, basically, we go through, once again, it's pulsed. We skipped a lot of people in this line. Like, there was like, this was like the one of the big
you really came in handy
big lines here. So we go through, and it's basically like all these people are infected. And they're not really like zombies. They're just kind of like infected type folks.
I think it started in a military camp almost. And they were telling us to get out before we got infected. And then we went through all sorts of biohazard walls and everything. And so there's people that are completely infected, people that are turning, people that are like just trying to run for their lives. It was pretty cool. And it was huge. When you come into Scream-A-Geddon, one of the only things you can see from the outside is sort of the top of a house facade. And that was part of this house as well. You actually go into a house and you had to crawl almost, or at least not crawl, but like hunch over and go deep into a basement. But one of the things that confused me when we were in the house scene here, it was sort of the exact same storyline as the Dark Woods, because they were talking about like feeding mama and cannibalism and stuff, and they said some of the same lines.
Interrelated.
So I was wondering if somehow the storylines were connected. I don't know. If someone can tell me at some point, if anyone watching knows the answer.
It was really cool. I mean, like she said, we start off in like a military camp. You walk through all these like tents and everything with this like medical setup and everything. Like, are you infected? Like whatever. And I think it was like at some point, like halfway through the house, there was like this rock that had landed. It was like this glowing rock, and I think this was responsible.
This was a really good part,
infecting everybody. And there was one guy, and he had like a priest robe on or something, and he said the same line, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but he said the same line. He was
like one of the crazy religious people that stands outside my library at school and yells at us that we're all sinners. And I think he was just repeating over and over, "You are sinners, you need to repent," or something like that.
And he said it like from the time we first laid eyes on him, and like we were still walking into the next kind of scene, and he was still saying the same thing over and over again. It was like, dude, why don't you just
Repent.
Let it go. So
So praise the rock. Praise
that was
the
really
glowing
cool.
rock.
That was a pretty neat moment. I like that. And then we ended up in the house, and then the basement, duck down, and everything like that. And at the end, they have like a little kind of like an actual maze where you're trying to find your way out, like this little mini maze. I don't want to spoil it, but there may be chainsaws involved.
Chainsaws.
So that was a good time. That was pretty cool. I like this house. I'm still having a good time. 3 for 3. I actually, this is probably one of my favorites of the actual event. Was Infected was pretty cool. This
was another dangerous one though, and it's interesting because we were talking afterwards. We were wondering how anyone who's in a wheelchair could possibly do any of the attractions here, because there's not alternate routes.
I was looking on their website because I was curious about that myself, and in the FAQ, they say that you should be able to do anything on a wheelchair, but they do caution you that it is some like dirt and uneven ground, that kind of thing. So, yeah. So now, moving on to the next one. Now, I really liked Infected. It was really, really cool. It was really cool. I mean, the military stuff was really pretty neat. Kind of a. I don't know if this was like you said, like I don't know if it's the same storyline. But after that, we ended up in a house called Pandemic.
Yeah.
We did Pandemic, and then we did the Hayride. That's right. So Pandemic, this is like the highlight of the night for me. This is my favorite house.
I would agree.
And it's a little short. It felt like it was a little short, but I think that maybe just kind of flow issues. I think it was what I wanted to stay in there longer, and I couldn't, so it felt short to me.
That was the problem. I wanted to go right back in because when it was over, I was sad.
Yeah, this is where they give you the green glow necklaces.
Yes, this is where you get your badge of honor.
Your badge of honor. Now, you're in line for this house, and we're in the express line, and you have two choices. First choice is they give you a glow necklace like this. Notice we're wearing them. And you can get touched. You can actually be a part of the story, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's your option. They basically tell you, if you put this on, it's your signal to the actors that you will allow them not really to it's not a scary sort of touch, but they can redirect you.
Yeah, they kind of grab you by the shoulders and turn you.
It's sort of their goal to break you off and make you part of stories in different rooms. But even if you had it on, you could just stay with your group if you want to keep following them, even if they tried to move you if you got too scared. So they were really good about it. They weren't trying to scare you to death. They just wanted you to be more involved, and I really appreciated that element of it.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. Now we go through. Obviously, we get our necklaces and we're ready to go. And it's kind of like a hospital office building type thing when you walk through. There's all these document boxes on the floor and everything. And then you end up in like these kind of like hospital scenes with like these dentist chairs and all this stuff. And that's when they start to like move you. And it was almost immediate. We walked in like 2 feet. Somebody grabbed Courtney, turned her, and pushed her into a side room. Didn't push her, but just kind of guided her there. And I'm sitting in like an empty hallway. I'm like, what about me? So I just like follow her. And in the first room, they just kind of like hold you there for a second, and whatever. Then we pass a couple people. They're in chairs. They got like characters talking to them. Unfortunately, we missed out on that bit. But then we get to like I think probably our favorite part, which was like the like hospital bed type scene.
That was definitely my favorite moment of the night.
we get separated, and there are these like hospital beds, and they're like 5-10 feet apart or whatever, and they pick the wrong people to mess with because like they start talking to us like in character, and Courtney and I have a certain kind of like a wit, I guess, like a certain kind of back and forth that we have. And they put Courtney on like this bed and they're like, are you infected? Are you infected? And then Courtney starts to talk to this guy.
He threw me onto this bed and I just leaned back and I was like, hey. And he was like, have you been bitten? And I was like, not yet. And I don't know. I think we made some other jokes about blood and stuff, and he completely lost it. He completely broke character, and he shouted after me that he was a doctor and he makes lots of money. So if you're watching this, hi, call me. But it was really, really fun, and I know Johnny was making similar jokes with the other guy, and we probably just we made it really hard for them to do their job.
Inappropriate. Like I think the guy was like, "Oh, are you infected? Are you infected?" As I'm sitting down in this bed, I was like, nah,
Yeah.
man. I'm like, I wear condoms.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? Because some people probably like freak out during this, and we just kind of like,
Yeah, there were people
just
that were
kinda,
very
like-
scared, and we were just having a blast.
yeah. So we had a lot of fun with this one, and that wasn't the only
Look.
time. I mean, we probably got separated a good 4 or 5 times. It seems
Yeah,
like.
I even got switched into one room, came out the opposite side, and then they put me back in that room again. And when they put you in these rooms, none of them are empty. There's always at least one actor in there. There would be girls screaming, or there was like someone puking in a bucket at one point, and like they're just all like different characters that are infected, and it was really, really cool. I loved it. I would have done it a lot more times if like the express was unlimited or if the lines were shorter, because I would love to do it again.
To do this one again. Yeah, it was really, really cool. Yeah, we love Pandemic. As a matter of fact, this is probably my favorite thing in the entire event was the Pandemic house. So, you know,
Definitely.
if you go, definitely get the express. If you're not sure about the express, do this one first. Like, be there right when it opens, then get express or whatever. This was really cool. So, you know,
Yeah.
at this point we're 4 for 4. Pretty happy with all the houses, and then we get to the Cursed Hayride. Now,
So the story behind this one, I was just reading, because after we did this, I wanted to look up all the actual storylines on their website. And I guess this is like an old West town where all the people are immortal. So yeah, they've been cursed with immortality. And basically the only way they can move into the afterlife is if they steal your soul. Because during it, they were yelling at us that they wanted our soul. It was kind of like Evil Dead. And so that's basically the story I got from it. So
makes a little bit more sense. Now, I will admit I did not know the story going into this. And it's a hayride. Now, I gotta admit, I'm not the biggest hayride person. I mean, like, sitting down in hay, hay.
yeah, I mean, and it was just a wagon with hay behind a tractor, and they had 3 lines of us. I've been on a lot of haunted hay rides. I used to do some up in Minnesota and Michigan, and I loved them. I haven't been on one in probably 10 years. But I remember the last one I was on was terrifying because they would actually jump on the wagon with you. There was more space. They were coming at you from all sides. And that's what I was expecting. I was actually pretty apprehensive before this, and I was really looking forward for the opportunity to do a hayride again. But it wasn't quite what I was expecting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to go into, like, total spoiler territory. It seemed like this kind of suffered a little bit from maybe some timing issues or maybe some kind of flow issues. I mean, you'd get on the hayride. You're on this little trailer with hay and everything, and it would take you through a certain like scene, like a shack, and obviously these characters, they come out at you, and it just seemed a little kind of. And I had fun. Don't get me wrong; it was neat to look at, but it seemed like a little bit of like kind of like rinse and repeat. It was like backwoods people wanting your soul, fire.
Yeah, and it was kind of what I was saying about the dark woods, where it wasn't people coming at you in the dark from the woods. It was all set up in scenes. So they would, when we first started, we were going through the dark woods, and I was like, oh, where are they going to come from? But then we got to a little barn, and there was just sort of like a saw that would move and some fire, but we didn't really stop. We just kept moving the entire time, and that would happen in every set we got to, where there would be a couple actors, and they would like yell at us and maybe like bang the cart with a weapon or something, but we would just keep moving through it. So it never really got scary.
Well, hold on though, because it didn't get really scary for us. But there was one lady who was sitting next to me, and she was freaking out. Some people can't handle this stuff. I mean, like you got.
Well, there was an actor that was getting right in her face and like particularly messing with her.
So,
but I don't know. And then you finally get to the old West town at the end, and there were a lot of actors in this scene, and it was a pretty big set. But mostly they just had guns that they were shooting at each other, and it was a lot of just bang, bang, loud noises, and not really interaction, not really scares, and they kind of just look like normal people. So I don't know. This definitely wasn't frightening for me, and I have to say I was a little disappointed. It was definitely my least favorite attraction of Scream-A-Geddon, but they have tons of room out there, and this was their first year. So I'd be really interested to see what they do with it in the future.
Yeah. So they did have a ridiculously attractive female, though, in a corset. So we
was that.
We wants the redhead.
She wasn't a redhead.
She looked, whatever. In my mind, she's a redhead. We wants the brunette. I don't know. Whatever, okay? I'm sorry. She was attractive. I enjoyed myself looking at her.
Don't Google the characters.
I couldn't help
Rule number
myself. 10. All right. So, there's no rule against oogling the characters.
That's true. I would break that rule.
Yeah, I know, right? You of all people, pot kettle black. Okay. So, we get through the Cursed Hayride at this point. And at this point, we decide that we are going to go through the 3D house again. So we're kind of moseying at this point because we got like one punch left on our express pass. We did this one before without the express, and we decided that we want to sit through Bedlam 3D. And I gotta admit, man, when I did this the second time, I took my sweet ass time in this house because it's a lot to absorb. You know, I mean, it's 3D, really, really cool. I mean, there are other 3D houses this year, both at Horror Nights and Howl-o-Scream. And they have Asylum in Wonderland at Horror Nights, and they have the Circus Superstition at Howl-o-Scream. This one is probably my favorite. I'm not a huge fan of 3D houses, but I gotta admit, out of all of the 3D houses I've ever been in, this is probably my favorite. And it wasn't because of the characters, it was just because the scenery was really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in love with Asylum in Wonderland this year at Horror Nights, and it definitely has been my favorite 3D house story-wise and just how fun it is. But this one really blew me away with the neat special effects. I just want to walk through it, even if there were no actors. I would have fun walking through this.
You're just looking at stuff, so it was really, really cool. They, they didn't really have like a lot of the theme parks. They have like trigger effects, like they step on a pedal and noise. Once again, here everything they did, everything they yelled at you, everything they said was actually the actual characters. So that is something I do appreciate. That it was really, really cool.
And no ops members anywhere.
And no ops members. Not as a matter of fact, not one ops member in the entire night, except when you enter the house, like punching your ticket and letting the people pulse through. That was really, really cool. So apparently there's only one park that does that. So yeah, maybe we can get that fixed. So after Bedlam, I mean, we're out of Express here. You know, at this point, you know, with the trip and everything, we're kind of winding down. And Courtney decides to go get a drink. We're gonna hang out for just a little bit before we leave. We did get a chance to take some pictures of these characters walking around, which were
they had really, a lot of interesting actors walking around, like some really cool costumes. There were some that were like Bioshocky, some zombies, some really weird, just like face deformity ones. Like a lot of cool actors.
So here is Courtney with gas mask guy with huge sword. So this was cool. We took a picture. Here's the one picture of me with this guy. They're all about the photos. If you want to take a picture, you just kind of stopped them politely, and they would take pictures. There was this guy like this full like Bioshock armor.
It was so
really cool. But unfortunately, I did not get a good picture of him because it was dark and I didn't have my camera out. So that was kind of unfortunate, but that was probably my favorite costume out of everybody. Like, it was like head to toe, like Bioshock, which is this like steampunk sci-fi kind of thing. It was really, really cool. We also saw this guy who's like in a straitjacket, and he had like this mask on, and I'm sure he was just kind of hanging out, but he just seemed kind of sad. like he's walking around just like, I don't know. I can't even. I'm looking at this picture right now, and I can't look at his face and tell him he was sad. But his
it's true.
He was just sad. It was just,
He did look pretty sad. I saw him later on in the night, and he was still just sort of slouched walking around.
So I don't know if that was like the character's shtick or anything. Like but we ended up getting a
maybe he just had a bad day.
Yeah, he wasn't getting enough attention. I don't know, but he was just kind of like, moping around, whatever. I mean, the characters were just kind of like, walking laps and kind of crisscrossing and screaming at people, whatever. So it was pretty cool. I mean, it was a pretty neat thing. After that, here's butcher guy with apron, cowboy hat, and huge axe choppy thingy.
Yeah,
This is
he
not,
actually also on his back had a piece that he was wearing as a vest that looked like a ripped open spine.
it did. It was really cool. And he's not. This is not a tall dude. Like he's shorter than I am, so he's not. He's not the most tall guy. So it was kind of.
But he was freaky. He was chasing after people. He would get right in your face. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty aggressive here. And that's all the photos that we have. Now, after we got through just kind of hanging out a little bit, I mean, I can't resist not getting some sort of carny food. So I got some fried Oreos.
After his kumquat pie.
After my kumquat pie. It was the night of desserts. And I got my deep fried Oreos, and they were good, but my stomach paid for that later because it was just like ridiculously. I couldn't finish them. They were really, really good. So get that. They also have like funnel cakes and that kind of stuff. Corn dogs, all kinds of stuff. But at this time, Courtney's off. She's grabbing a beer, and there's a line for the beer. So make sure if you want to get a beer, get there early. They did not have a VIP line for the beer.
No, and it was pretty long all night long.
Yeah,
it was a very, very long beer line.
Beer's very popular at Scream-A-Geddon.
Yes, but if you went and you got a wristband, you would get happy hour prices all night long at the local brewery. So that was kind of cool if you were gonna still check out Dade City afterwards. I don't know. It was a good deal.
So, at that point, she's grabbing a beer, and I was looking for we actually met one of the kind of the manager ops types guys. I don't remember his name, but he's the guy that directed us where to go to upgrade the tickets, because I didn't know. Apparently, you can do that from a gift shop. They have some neat shirts. I wanted, like the actual ops people had this red shirt that said Scream-A-Geddon on it. If they would have had that shirt for sale, I would have bought it in a heartbeat, because it was
but
really,
you can't
really
wear
cool.
the same shirt as the ops.
They can give it to you. They can maybe give it to you and put it in a bag so you could wear it outside of the
Yeah, and then
park.
what if you come back wearing it and people think you work there?
That's tacky.
Oh my gosh. People would do it.
I really liked that shirt. They had like shirts for the other different houses. I think shirts are like $20, pretty reasonable. I didn't quite pull the trigger on one because there wasn't one that jumped out at me besides the ops people one. So Courtney's off getting a beer, and I strike up a conversation with the ops guy, find him, and I'm like, hey, we're here from HauntScene. We've been doing this show. Like I just wanted to say, we're having a good time. Really like the haunts. They're like, good luck in the future. And it turns out that gentleman is next to a guy named Benjamin, who I believe is the owner's son. And he's super nice. He looks like a skinny Conan O'Brien. Sorry if you're watching that, Benjamin. But I couldn't stop thinking that. I'm like, Conan? So he's got like this like armful of wristbands or whatever. And I get to meet him, and we kind of talk about, he has some, he's, basically, stressing they're trying to do something different or whatever. And, we told him, I told him that we had a lot of fun and everything, gave him a couple business cards and everything. So, it was pretty cool. He said that, they this year, they already have plans for next year. They're going to do some stuff with the 3D, because I told him how much I like the 3D house, and everything. They definitely have some plans in the future, and I have to say, Scream-A-Geddon, for its first year, it's a pretty good place to start. I mean, I was pretty
impressed. Like we said, they have tons of space out there, so they could do a lot. And they definitely have already put a lot of money into things. I mean, in the infected house, there were lots of like robots even in the doctor camps that would like move on the patient tables. Lots of really cool stuff. You can tell that they want it to be really good. I think they might have to change security a little in the coming years, just because there's no one like checking people as they come in, and when the no ops and being in the dark and stuff. I feel like if someone gets hurt, then obviously they're going to have to change a few things with that. And then the other thing that kind of disappointed me was just the second time we went through Bedlam, some of the actors would see us coming around and they wouldn't even try to scare us. One girl said, "Oh, you've seen me already," because they recognized us from before. Because I think they only have one set of actors per house. It's not casts that are changing and rotating. And so I was kind of disappointed by that, because it still was only our second time and I wanted to get the full experience again. But the actors were just kind of like, "Oh, there's no need to try to scare you because I'm here." So Yeah, that literally happened. I heard one of the ladies said that to me, and I was like, "Oh, okay." So I'd like to see them maybe, tell their actors to stay with it no matter what, just to give guests the full experience every time. But I think they're doing a really good job, and I definitely, if it grows, I definitely would go back next year for sure.
Yeah,
I'm glad we went.
they have about 140 characters. That's what we some information that we got from Scream-A-Geddon. We thought for a moment they were going to try to get somebody on the show tonight. We're going to have our first live interview, but unfortunately that didn't pan out. No problem. I mean, it was just kind of a last minute thing anyways. But when did they get a break? Like, what if they got to pee?
Right?
I don't know. It was kind of weird because I was like, it seemed like literally the same cast first time and last time through Bedlam, and I didn't really see anybody walk in or out of the house.
No, and the characters that were out in the midway too were there from the minute we got there, which was the beginning of the night when they just opened, to the time we left, which was a few hours later.
They're hardcore. They're
just
like Iron
no
Man
breaks
characters.
For them.
No breaks for you. So it was kind of interesting. I mean, it's probably we just didn't notice it, but that's what it seemed like. So by all means, take a trek out to Dade City. Tickets are really reasonable right now. I mean, they're like $20 on Wednesday. It's one of the days $25, and I think the maximum price ticket right now for normal general admission is $30 on the weekends, peak nights. By all means, definitely get the VIP pass. You will not regret it. Yes. VIP Fast Pass. It will definitely save you some time. It's really worth the dollars.
I mean, you get it punched once per house, but as Johnny said earlier, once you're in the park, you can get in line as many times as you want. So even if you wanted to get your VIP pass, but jump in the normal lines for some of the houses while they're still short after it opens, and then do them all again, there's plenty of time to experience it all multiple times. So I would highly suggest doing that.
Yeah, so definitely check it out. Okay. All right, so we're gonna kind of start winding down here. It's 8:52. We're definitely check out Scream-A-Geddon. We had a good time. I look forward to going back next year. Good job, guys. Keep it up. Good luck everything with this season and everything. I'm sure any sort of kinks and timing and all that stuff. I mean, when you're a haunt and you're brand new, you don't really know what to expect or what works or what doesn't work. So. We've run into even preview nights at other parks, and they've had some early on issues. So it's definitely worth the trip. If you're watching right now, I give it my seal of approval. Definitely go out and check out Scream-A-Geddon. I had a really, really good time. Now, next week, we are planning, and this isn't something that's really set in stone at this point, but we're kind of winding down we're actually kind of starting to run out of haunts to do in Central Florida. And next weekend, what we're planning on doing is we're going to do 2 haunts. And on Saturday, we're planning on doing the Haunting in Old Town, which is in Kissimmee in Old Town. And it is literally like a haunt in a strip mall. And it's neat. I've done it before. It's not specific to this haunt season. It's actually open year round, which I think is the most appealing thing.
Because you need that haunt fix, you
got to get that haunt fix in 6 months.
Like, I need adrenaline. Someone jump out at me.
It definitely. I mean, I've done it before. I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but I think you're gonna like it. One thing that I've never done before, and I've heard varying opinions about it, but I want to go and form my own opinion, is Petrified Forest, which is in Altamont. And that one, it's a local haunt. It's like about half an hour away from where I'm at. And we're gonna check that out. I believe that has 2 attractions. I'll have to look at the specifics on the website, but we're coming out, so we're definitely planning on hitting up a Petrified Forest and a Haunting in Old Town next week.
Hopefully.
Well, this week on Saturday. Hopefully, if we can't, at some point we'll work it in. We're also planning on doing another howl-o-scream trip because we fell a little short the first time. So we want to make sure we can do that.
Back there for sure.
I
definitely want to try to experience it again.
We've been going to horror nights. I mean, I'm on night 13. Tomorrow will be night 14 and 15 and 16 and 17 this weekend.
That's a whole lot.
So, but I'm getting it in this year, man, because the most depressing part about you know, the haunt season is, you know, after that last night of all haunts
Yep.
being done. Usually it's like Halloween or November 1st. The day after is like, for us, it's like the most depressing day of the year.
It really is. It's post haunt season depression. It happens. It's a real condition, and it
It is
sucks.
now.
I have like dreams about horror
Wow.
nights for weeks after it's over. And it just feels like something's missing.
I took the day off. Like, I literally took the day off.
Like an
after-
emotional recovery.
Yeah, like I was like, I'm like, after that, I think it ends on a Sunday. A lot of the haunts are ending on November 1st this year. Not that I want to get all depressed and start talking about the haunt scene ending, but I literally took the day off because yeah.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. And that's why, you know, this weekend I wasn't sure if I could make it down for our next 2 haunts. It's kind of my fault if we miss out on it because I'm just exhausted from all this. But then I think about the fact it's almost over and I'm like,
Right.
no. And actually on Halloween weekend, I'm going to be in Salem. So I'm going to be doing some big haunts up in the Northeast, but I will be missing the final weekend of all of these Central Florida haunts. So
No.
I know. I got to get as much as I can.
All right, so we are here
I'm gonna try to
at
do
Scream-A-Geddon
one last
in Dade City.
Hold on. I'm trying to do one last thing here for this
Oh
episode.
man, it's getting creative.
It's getting creative. I'm doing stuff
Bear
on
with-
the fly. Bear with
Oh,
my technical
no.
difficulties. Hold on.
4 more minutes, guys.
I know, we got to fill out the 4 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to turn this off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this little video that I took. Because I want people to see the outside of the actual house. Okay. The outside of Scream-A-Geddon, because it's actually really, really interesting. So give me 1 second here. I'm going to play this.
If I'm in this video and I look bad, you're in a lot of trouble.
Sorry, you never look bad.
Oh no.
All right. So this is just kind of like, I do have a camera, and I've been trying to do some videos here and there. So here's one video that I took outside of Scream-A-Geddon, just so you kind of see what the outside looks like.
All right, so we are here at Scream-A-Geddon in Dade City. So it's like a self-contained kind of haunt, it's all fenced off and everything.
My sweet commentary.
So we already have our tickets that we purchased online, but we're going to go in and we're going to check it out. So pretty excited about it. Definitely excited about this little haunt facade thingy here. So
Scream-A-Geddon. Scream-A-Geddon.
Sorry, I just can't help but yell Scream-A-Geddon over and over again.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so it's 8:57, so we did actually get an hour out of that, so that's really cool. I'm going to go ahead and give Scream-A-Geddon a thumbs up, so thank you so much for having us. Hopefully, we'll be able to do Scream-A-Geddon again. Keep trying to win tickets. If you can't win tickets, go out there. It's totally worth the drive, worth the money. Have fun. Wear your glow necklace, which I just ripped off on accident. Sorry.
Uh-oh.
So, but we're going to go ahead and roll credits here. We'll see you guys back next week at 8 o'clock for our next show, which will probably be covering those 2 haunts, but it is a little bit up in the air, so we'll be back next Tuesday at 8 o'clock. So, Courtney,
But
thank you for
thanks
joining
watching.
me.
Thank
for
you.
watching. You guys,
We'll
happy
see you next
haunting.
week. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.